Spider-Man 2 is a system-defining game. PS5 has God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West, Switch has Tears of the Kingdom and Mario Odyssey, and Xbox has... Even though it didn't win any accolades at this year's Game Awards, Spider-Man still won the heart of its players. Hell, even I platinumed it, which I never do. But I think most fans, myself included, can agree the game isn't perfect. I will say I don't really understand all the criticism the game got for not being innovative enough, as if every sequel has to be revolutionary and massive in scale. No, just do the same thing, but better. When I go into a sequel, I'm expecting the same core DNA, just with a little pizzazz, you know, better graphics, a fresh story, new and improved features. In regards to being a good sequel, for me, Spider-Man 2 checked more boxes than a gynecologist. My issues with the game are mostly specific little things that on their own really aren't a huge issue, but enough crumbs make a cake, and god damn if Spider-Man ain't a whole ass cake. So,
know what really grinds my gears?
The fact that both Peter and Miles call each other Spider-Man. Like, just say each other's names. You obviously don't give a shit about people finding out who you are if you're just gonna stand there holding hands with MJ out in the wild. And while we're on the topic of MJ, who trained this chick, Ra's al Ghul? I'm sorry, but my suspension of disbelief can only go so far, for this random girl choking out trained killers on more than one occasion is beyond ridiculous. At least they're consistent though, because the AI also never sees the circus act going on 10 feet above them, or their comrades just dangling there in broad daylight. And what the hell is this run every character does? It's definitely supposed to be kind of a stealthy, ready to lunge or dodge at any moment kind of vibe, but instead it just looks like we all have scoliosis.
You okay?
Oh, it's my back. It's kind of stiff from all the swinging, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, I got a middle back thing too.
Really?
Speaking of broken backs, both Spider-Men are pretty brutal in finishers, straight up creating paraplegics, but I kinda wanted some zany combat from the OG Spider-Man 2 where you could just pile drive people off buildings like Rock Lee. Even when I was ruthless with the symbiote on, every person launched off a building still magically gets saved, because we can't have Spider-Man out here murdering people, but then I'll throw a rocket at a dude's face, blowing him and his buddy up, like, oh, that's a dead person, I'm now fighting a cadaver. Half of my toolkit would one-shot kill any of these normal dudes. Do you know how hard you gotta get punched in the jaw to get sent 10 feet in the air, chin first? These AI got that Crimson Chin hitbox. Also, a completely different subject, but I was thinking about how every iteration of Spider-Man is always broke as shit. Like, you're a genius, dude. You can't think of any ways to become rich off super strength, speed, and reflexes? One dude in the game even told me to open a shoe line and start streaming, which unironically is a good idea. If Spider-Man made a Twitch and streamed himself fighting villains, he'd be getting donos left and right. You're literally fighting multi-story sand monsters and aliens. People paid $50 to watch Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather fake a fight. Just one day of, what's going on guys, it's your boy Spider-Man. Today's rescue is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Whenever MJ asks for a snap of her itsy bitsy spider, I trust ExpressVPN to keep this daddy's long leg private. Boom, rent paid. I'm probably gonna catch some heat for this next one, but making Miles' girlfriend deaf was an inclusion that did not need to be included. Look, I'm all for telling a unique love story, but in the case of a narrative-heavy video game that relies on expressive dialogue and outstanding performances, I think there's a legitimate case to be made that this...
What are you doing here? I was trying to save you.
is not as impactful as this.
You gotta stay awake, buddy.
Wait!
No!
At a certain point, you can only sign so hard, and then every time you want to have a phone call, you gotta talk to the TikTok AI voice.
Kids at the hospital loved the flowers. Thanks, Miles.
Hold up. How'd you know it was me?
They were labeled Order for Music Man. Not very cryptic.
Oh, well, hey, I want to support what you do for them. It's really cool.
Thanks. You're really cool.
Am I an asshole for saying this? Realistically, it isn't a huge deal either way, but it's still kind of like, okay, was that really necessary? A much bigger issue is Peter. The first game, he was honestly him. Like, he was that fucking guy. He had that dog in him. He won every fight and frequently 2v1'd, if not more. This was the first time we got to play as a truly experienced Spider-Man, and it felt nice. Real nice. Now in this game, I understand the point is to be greater together, but Miles is stronger both physically and emotionally throughout the entire game and doesn't make any notable mistakes. So it's literally and figuratively just Miles saving Peter over and over. By the end of the game, I kinda lost some respect for Peter, and not because of his new face or things he did in the black suit, but because of how he's just kind of a little bitch throughout the game. I mean, Kraven fucking one-shots him, killing him in the first encounter, which is just insane. Spider-Man literally dodges bullets and lightning bolts, but a dying normal man is able to kill Peter in hand-to-hand combat?
That just makes no fucking sense. I mean, it's just bullshit.
That's probably my single greatest gripe in the game. The other nitpick is that while this Venom is incredibly cool, and Insomniac letting us play as Venom was magnifique, but Harry and Venom pretty much became irredeemable immediately after rejoining with each other. Like the first scene back, they brutally murdered the Oscorp employees who were trying to separate them. Oh, and then just casually take over the entire city. No big deal, just a little oopsie. Look, whether the story in this game completely landed for me or not, doesn't change the fact that this was one of the best games of the year, and it's impossible to ignore the heart that went into it. I could go on and on about everything this game does right for hours, but it's more fun to rant about the bad stuff, so that's what I did. The final thing I want to say is...
What the fuck? What the fuck?
For killing Howard off. I'm over here expecting to have a fun little side mission and end up sobbing in tears. He'll go down in history with all the rest of the great Pigeoneers.
Goodbye, Moon Man. You say goodbye.